the day the gates opened. In the winter of 1945, the world was a landscape of gray ash and biting frost. Inside the barbed wire of Auschwitz, time didn't move in hours, but in heartbeats and shivers. Jacob stood in the snow, his thin frame swaying against the wind, clutching a threadbare coat that offered no warmth. For him and thousands of others, the horizon had felt empty for a very long time. Jacob wasn't alone in his waiting. Beside him was Marek, a friend who had shared every meager crust of bread and every whispered hope of home. They huddled together near the shadows of a brick chimney, their breath forming small clouds in the frozen air. "Listen," Marek whispered, his eyes wide. "The ground is shaking. That isn't the wind." On January 27th, the silence of the camp was shattered. A soldier named Anton crested the snowy embankment, his heavy boots crunching through the ice. He was part of the Red Army, tired from months of marching, but his eyes softened when he saw the rows of survivors. He didn't see enemies or numbers. He saw people who had endured the impossible. Anton walked toward the gates, his presence a signal that the nightmare was ending. He reached out a gloved hand to Jacob, who stared at the soldier as if he were a ghost. Anton pulled a small, crushed piece of chocolate from his pocket and offered it. It was the first act of kindness Jacob had seen in years, and it tasted like the return of the world. As the gates were cast wide, Jacob and Marek walked through the threshold together. They didn't run. They walked slowly, their legs weak, but their spirits beginning to stir. Behind them lay a place of unspeakable shadows, but before them was a path that led away from the wire. They leaned on each other, two survivors stepping into a blindingly bright, snowy freedom. 60 years passed, and the world changed, but Jacob never forgot the cold or the chocolate. Now an old man, he sat in a sun-drenched library with his granddaughter, Alara. He told her about Marek, about Anton, and about the importance of the stories that are hard to hear. "We remember," he said softly, "not to stay in the past, but to protect the future." Jacob opened a small, weathered wooden box and pulled out a faded photograph of himself and Marek from the summer after the liberation. He placed it in Alara's hand. He wanted her to understand that history isn't just dates in a textbook. It is the lives of people who loved, suffered, and hoped. Alara traced the edges of the photo, promising to keep the memory alive. In 2005, leaders from across the globe met at the United Nations. Among them were diplomats like Sarah and David, who spoke of the heavy responsibility of memory. They drafted a resolution to ensure the world would never forget what happened behind those wires. They chose January 27th, the day Anton met Jacob, as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Now, every year on that day, the world pauses. Alara stood at a community memorial with her friend Leora, holding a single white candle. Around them, hundreds of tiny flames flickered in the dusk. "It's so small," Leora whispered, looking at her candle. "But when we all hold them together," Alara replied, "the darkness doesn't stand a chance." The story of the liberation is more than an ending. It is a beginning. It is a reminder that even in the deepest winter, there are those who bring the light and those who carry it forward. Alara looked up at the stars, feeling the weight of the past and the brightness of the tomorrow she was helping to build. She remembered, and in remembering, she was free.